Not even the depths of hell could have forged a diamond this special.
All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Safford Delivery. I'm your host, Big Mike, and I am here with...
I am Shannon from, already. I was waiting for you to talk longer, and I spaced out for this long.
That's okay, we'll keep it in. Go ahead,
Jesus.
Just go ahead, do your thing. Do your thing.
I'm Shannon Hillock. I am one of the owners of Tired Iron Express, but you may know me from TikTok, 605 Gemini.
Okay. Now, let's explain to people what exactly it is that you do.
I make a joke and I say that I run the circus. I do absolutely everything but drive the truck because I have no skill there. So I play to my strengths and I do the paperwork, I do the dispatching, I do all the financial, everything, literally everything but drive the truck.
Okay, and then how long have you been doing that?
We started the company almost 2 years ago, and we were leased to someone originally, and my husband actually was hit head-on by a drunk driver about a year ago, and it changed everything for us. And I really fell headfirst into the role because it was such a difficult time with so many different hurdles to overcome that it was very much sink or swim. And I am very fortunate to come from a very large trucking background, so it was a little rocky at the beginning, but it's become something I can't imagine ever turning control over, like being leased on to someone else ever again. I love so many different aspects of it.
Yeah, it's like it's a different animal when you go from doing everything yourself and having the freedom to select where you guys go, select any modifications you add to the truck, what shops you go to. You're not limited to any of that. It's a whole different ball game, compared to when you do it under someone else's authority, because then they have full control over the equipment, what loads you take, depending on, if you're a 1099 contracted employee versus, a W-2 or whatever they call it now, So I feel like if you guys are doing it yourselves and it's all contained, then, more power to you.
Absolutely. And I'm a little bit of a control freak. And especially, and I'm very protective of my husband, who is our driver. And I don't think that anybody else could put his best interest first the way that I can. It's just, it always has to come back to the driver. I firmly believe that.
Yeah. And, another thing too is like, he has, and just for the record, if you want to say his name, if not, then we'll just leave it out.
His name is Matt.
Okay, Matt. So just so that if you say the name later on, I'm like, who's that?
Who's that?
So I'm trying to word it nicely. If doo-doo hits the fan and something goes wrong, the only person he has to blame is you.
And that's exactly what happened this last week. We have a rule that we do not travel I-80 in the wintertime. And I said, don't worry, babe. I promise I will never put you in that position. Until this gorgeous oversized load slid across my desk. I checked the weather as a good dispatcher should. Everything looked fine. I didn't check the wind. And it was for a pretty big construction job. And we had planned on him knocking out 4 loads this week. He just delivered today. He picked up the load 7 days ago to go from Denver to Jackson, Wyoming, so this damn far on the map. And he got shut down in Laramie because of the snowstorm for 6 days. So when that man rolls into the house, I'm going to have some heavy apologizing to do. All of his favorite meals. Oh my God. I'm going to have to polish some chrome. But like you said, the only one to blame is me. And I broke our own rule. Don't worry, babe. I'll never do it. I promise. I'll never. And he was like, I don't know. And I said, don't be a baby. I said, you can get in and out. He's an old cow hauler. No one moves like those guys. I was like, come on now. I don't want to hear any whining. Get it out. You'll have an easy week. I'll bounce you home on the weekend. No. It went exact opposite. It did. But that's how it goes sometimes. It's rough when you dispatch your husband. When you mess up. Now, when he messes up, whole different story. How dare he?
Yep.
But in his defense, he's an old pro. He's been driving for like 25 years. He doesn't make the little stupid mistakes that I make. Oh, I already made you cry. I'm very proud.
Oh my god. Like, you cannot make this stuff up.
Oh, like a historic snowstorm. And I'm like, no, it's great. You want to sit in Laramie? Nobody wants to be in Laramie for 6 days.
Yeah. Oh my god. That is, and some people don't realize that right now, or at least last I checked, California was getting hit with a snowstorm. I'm talking LA.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I have a very good friend that he runs a trucking company and a trucking school out of LA. And they woke up to snow on the ground. And what was it? I'm going to say it wrong. The Grapevine, they had like 5 feet of snow. And
wow.
Just for the record, I would like to point out that California DOT handled the snow very well.
Really?
They did. They had everything cleared and handled pretty quickly. It wasn't an issue, which is great because, I'm from western South Dakota. It's nothing to get a couple of feet of snow, but that's a completely different animal for the places where if it dips below 80, it's just terrible.
Yeah, it's like if it dips below 80 in any part of, LA, like the LA region, like not Northern California because they're so close to Washington,
right.
They expect snow and they expect inclement weather. But if you're down near like, the heart of California,
the desert, like how?
Yeah, it's like how do you now, if you were a dispatcher and then you're like, oh, don't worry, babe, I got you. It is what it is. I'm sending you to LA. What's the worst that could happen? You get sunburn on your left arm. You get sunburn on your left arm. That's okay. I'll rub aloe vera on it when you get home. And then, he comes into the house with assless chaps and frostbite on both of his butt cheeks. You got some
really
butt cheeks.
Grovel. You do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be much the same for a couple days he was really pissed at me, which was fair. Very fair. I would be livid too. It's not like he's got a T680 that he's hanging out in. He's got a 91 379. So he's just a step up from a coffin bunk for 6 days. He had every right to be pretty livid with me, but in typical Shannon fashion, I was able to manipulate every area of the situation. I bullied the broker into giving us 50% of the load for detention due to the weather, even though they really didn't need to. So that placated him a little bit, made me a little happier. And then the road opened up, the angels sang, and everything.
And how long was he stuck out there?
6 days. He got into Laramie Sunday afternoon, and he left yesterday afternoon, which was Saturday. He just delivered, 2 hours ago.
Jeez Louise. And that was because it was an oversized load. That's why it kind of took...
Yep, it took a little bit longer because he can't travel after 6 p.m., I believe it is, when it gets dark, because he's oversized to the side, so he has overhang. So he couldn't travel after 6 p.m., so he had to shut down earlier, which normally he's an old school guy. He likes to get up at 3:30 in the morning and beat the traffic, so not being able to drive when it was dark out was, again, something else that I totally did not consider because I'm so great at my job. I can eat crow with the best of them. I am the first one to tell you how amazing I am at my job because I am. I really am. But when I mess up, I'll own it. It was all me. I didn't. There was wind before there was snow, and I didn't check for wind in Wyoming. Like, what kind of adult doesn't check for the wind in Wyoming? But like I said, my mistake.
So for the viewers who don't know, oversized loads have more restrictions. So, as Shannon had already mentioned, because he's over with he has to, he can only operate within certain hours. But then also with certain loads, you have to apply for an oversized permit, and then the DOT from the states determine what routes you take and that you are allowed on. And if you deviate off of any of those routes, you better have a pretty good reason why you did it.
And a thick checkbook.
Yes, and a very thick checkbook, and legible handwriting. So, it's you'll be in for a massive ticket and possibly shut down, and DOT can there's gonna be some recourse if you do it.
They
so
rarely look the other way on oversized loads, and because it's such a revenue for them. I mean, there is a lot of safety that comes into play. I typically do not side with the DOT.
As most of us don't.
Right, as we should not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at some points, they do have, it is for legitimate reasons, especially for the way that typical four-wheeler traffic treats trucks on the roads, with the way they cut you guys off and pass you on there. It's a recipe for danger. So just for everybody, it's that one time it's good to follow the DOT restrictions, but just that one time.
And most people, they don't know this, but there is actually a device that you can install in the truck. My buddy Chris O'Malley, you probably haven't watched the channel long enough to know, but when I was in business, I was fortunate enough to hire my best friend out of trucking school. I didn't know him before trucking school, but I had worked with a gentleman who needed another driver. So, how would I say it? I instinctively went back to the school that I got trained at. I went recruiting for the company I worked for.
Awesome.
Yep, and I got this guy hired, and then when I started my own company, I was fortunate enough to hire him, and I was confident in doing so because I trained him to know what he knows.
Truly,
and I know his capability.
Could you have under you?
Yep, and it's so weird because him and we have mostly the same views on everything and the same attitude towards things, except he's a lot less of a people person. So that makes it even easier to understand him, because then he's not convoluted with everyone else's opinions. He's stuck in his old, he's stuck
very much the way my husband is. He's a little older than I am. He's 12 years older than I am, and he's been driving for a long time. And his opinions are his opinions, and he's not closed-minded whatsoever. But you would have to come with some hard logic and some good reasoning to sway him one way or the other, which I think we could all be a little more like that. I shouldn't put this on the internet for everybody to hear, but I am a little ditzy, which makes me a little bit of a, what is that word? I'm naive as hell, because I'm nice. I know some of you may not think I'm nice, but I am, and so I expect everybody else to be nice, and that is not the way it goes.
So, based on, now this is just an assumption, and we rarely ever get into politics on this channel.
Which is great.
Ever. But typically, a gentleman with that mindset, obviously I'm not talking about you, I'm referring to Matt.
Right.
He has the let's go Brandon mentality. No,
because you see, honey, we're not racist.
Wait a minute. Are we seeing eye to eye? So, full disclosure, all right, so
we are raging libertarians.
I don't know what that means.
That means we're very for small government. You should get to love who you want to love. Basically, that the government should stay out of monitoring the minute details of your life. They shouldn't be able to tell us that we can't have guns, that gays can't marry, that we can't smoke weed, things like that. A little bit of both sides. Okay, all right. So I think I have to do my research, because that's not a term I'm very familiar with. But all right, I'll take the L on that one. All right. We're very, very open-minded people. We really are. Well, I mean, I live in a pretty rural area. I live in the metropolis of Sturgis, South Dakota. We throw a hell of a party once a year. But other than that, we have about 6,000 people that live here. So we have, my town is, if it takes me 10 minutes to get across town, I am so annoyed because I hit all 4 stoplights. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so we there's a lot of folks around here. It's very red, very blue. We don't get into politics much either because you're not going to change somebody else's mind with your small interaction that you have with someone. And I don't believe it's any of my business what somebody else believes. Just that mutual respect. There's a lot of people that are very red, very blue, and I don't like that black and white mentality. It doesn't work for me. I don't think it's very certain.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So now, when is Matt expected home, and what duties or chores in that truck are you gonna have to do to make up for that?
All of them. I'm gonna have to do the logbook. No, I'm just kidding. Matt is probably gonna. I would mess it up for sure. I would somewhere. I am not a small details lady, so I almost knocked that over. See, I'm clumsy, always with the coffee. When Matt comes home, it's probably going to be every bit of a week because last week there was no revenue coming in. But we do have a special occasion in the middle of March, so I'm going to bring him home right around the middle of March, depending on what the market is like. Of course, that is the almighty controller, is the load boards, and, the rates for such and such. But when he comes home, he has it pretty good. He doesn't come home to a honey-do list unless I break something big and I can't fix it myself, which is always a possibility, but not this week, so we're okay. He really does have it good, and I pride myself in that because when he's out there, he busts his butt, and so I take a lot of pride in babying him a little bit when he comes home. I make sure that the house is clean. Typically I'll go out and take up all the trash and the laundry and stuff. I'm a little hippy dippy, so of course I will sage the truck down and whatnot. And the truck sits in the driveway and we try to have a little one-on-one time until it's time to get ready to go again. And then I help to make sure that he has everything that he needs for the next time out.
Oh, that's cool. Now, is he typically home on his 34?
Typically, we live in a good spot for what we do. We are power only, and we are right at the tip.
Wow.
Yeah, of the oil field. So we do a ton of oil field stuff. So typically Matt is out for a week and a half, and I'll bring him home over. The sweet spot for us, if I'm really hitting things the way I need to, is he'll pull into the house on a Thursday afternoon, and I'll have him leave Tuesday, Wednesday. So I try to make sure he gets some pretty decent home time because when he's out, he's hammering. It's nothing for him to put on 4,500 miles in a week.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, so back to what I was saying. Some people, they don't understand that there's a device that my buddy Chris was telling me about, and that we actually acquired for the company, that are called pre-passes. Now, you guys probably do you guys use pre-passes?
We sure do.
Okay, so for the viewers who don't know, a pre-pass, it's basically like an easy pass. It can pay certain tolls, but some tolls they don't recognize it or they don't honor it. So then you still may get a bill in the mail, which is kind of stupid. I feel like, in the day of technology where, everything is at the tip of your fingers, how hard is it to add that to the network of however many thousands of tolls are on the network? But also what a pre-pass can do is it can help you bypass the weigh scales if they're open. So there's a series of lights and tones that will display or play whenever your truck is approaching a weigh scale that is open. So if your pre-pass lights up green, you got the green light to go ahead and bypass the weigh scale. But that does not apply for oversized loads. Anytime you have an oversized loads, doesn't matter what your pre-pass says, you gotta pull in. You gotta pull in for inspection.
Yep.
Like if they feel like
inspection, make sure that all your paperwork is in order.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, then you got to make sure your checkbook paperwork is in order because
exactly
then
correct. You come correct when you're oversized, or you don't come at all. A few months ago, Matt was in Colorado on another oversized. He was bringing up crane parts. And so we pulled into the port of entry like a good boy, and there was a guy. Now this was in Colorado. I believe it was, I don't remember. It would have been he was coming from Texas, so it would have been at the south side of Colorado, and he was pulling in. And there was a gentleman that was pulled in already that had come from Houston with a huge oversized load with no flags, no banners, no lights. He didn't have a CDL, and he had no oversized paperwork whatsoever. Oh, and he didn't have license plates on the truck either. I'm impressed at how far he made it, honestly. Before someone was like, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine the fine that would be.
But you know what it is too? And now some people may knock it, and yes, it is a very dangerous thing if someone that's driving a truck like that to be on the road without a CDL and without the appropriate training to do so. But in the case of Matt, that would be a blessing, because if that guy is at the scale where the port of entry, before Matt gets there, they're probably just gonna, tell Matt to just keep it moving.
That's exactly what happened.
Yep, exactly. They're like, we got our hands full over here. Pablo, he don't even speak English.
We're making the revenue for the whole month right here, so you, sir, can have a good one and just continue.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, they may ask him a question or two. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed? All right, that's it. I've had it happen to me where I pulled into a. It said it was a waste. It said it was an inspection station, but it was also a rest stop. That's how they get you over here in the Northeast, and it's just like.
That's simple. It is.
Yeah, they know truckers need the rest, or it'll say facilities.
Yep.
So you're like, oh my God, that damn beef and bean burrito, is making a comeback. And then, you pull in, and then next thing you know, they have you pull in. And I'm like, look, I'm just trying to drop trousers so I can just, so I
You are priority 2, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. I need to evacuate really quick, and then we'll go back to business.
You can do whatever you need. Mm-hmm. I live just down from a notoriously rough way station. If you come through South Dakota at all, I'm already about to say the Tilford way station. And they are building it. They knocked it down, which everybody was very happy for. But now they're going to put a new one back up with a full inspection bay, and just down the interstate from it, we used to have 2 rest areas on either side of the road with full facilities. They bulldoze those now. It's just parking lot. And since that scale is down, and that was a huge revenue for them. Like I said, long history of being just lovely to truckers. They tore it down, so there's no rest areas there, and they put the portable scales through there all the time. Because they can't run out of that revenue. A few years ago, and I believe it was closer to like 10 or 15, there was an old bull hauler who just was sick to death of that damn Tilford way station, and he had one too many toothpicks and decided it wasn't going to be his problem anymore, and he went full Papa Loved Mama and ran his truck through the whole darn thing.
Same thing happened out here. So if you don't know, I actually live in the state of Connecticut. And they had 2 way stations almost directly adjacent from each other, one north, one south. But the one going southbound has been obliterated forever. And they actually let, the grass and everything grow back.
Wow.
And, so I guess you guys must have not needed the revenue,
I don't know. That one, it's in such a sweet spot. Oh, my computer decided I needed a software update. It's in such a sweet spot for everything that it's one of the bigger, South Dakota is very small, and I think we only really have 2 pretty good sized, or pretty profitable scales. They all, of course, take their chunk.
Yeah.
But one on the western side of the state, which is the one near me, which is Tilford, and then one on the eastern side of the state, which is the Jefferson scale. That one, both of those, heavy hitters. No one likes to go through there, but part of the game.
And I feel like, now, I don't know as to how, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know how, I'm really struggling with this word here, how accurate this is, but I had heard from, I don't know, some source that a lot of police department revenue actually comes from not taxes, but the citations that truckers and regular, automobile drivers, like the revenue that they make from that to keep their departments up. And then, it makes you think, does policing for profits have a large play or a huge say in how hard cops are getting after it? If they're running low on budget, if they're running low on budget, they're like, oh, we got to make a quota of X number this month, or by the end of this month. If not, we're not going to have, gas for our vehicles.
Absolutely.
Or,
Absolutely.
the pensions aren't going to get paid.
Yeah, I think that's the main driving factor. Well, let's be real. That is the main driving factor of most things. Money makes the world twirl. Doesn't matter if, which side of that you stand on. It's the truth. And I believe that's the core to these blitzes. And everybody knows that you better drive with your manners at the end of the month because they got those quotas to fill. I also, I am not anti-police in any way, shape, or form. Small government is my thing, though. And I believe that's why they go after the commercial driver's license holders, the commercial trucks, because average Mary down the road with her Taurus, well, you're probably not going to be able to get a $5,000 fine out of her. Now, you get Joe in the Peterbilt for $5,000, you got him by the short hairs, because if he doesn't pay that $5,000, he doesn't have any income. It's manipulation at its finest, which is, again, why I'm small government. But I mean, it is what it is, and that's why they have the way scales. Of course, it is about compliance for safety and whatnot, but a lot of it is a money grab.
But do you feel like compliance for safety versus what that means in dollar amount, like yeah, you violated the law, or you violated this safety, but for small mom and pop businesses who are really struggling right now in the trucking industry, do you think why give that trucker a $5,000 fine and potentially put them out of business versus a smack on the wrist and a smaller fine, and let the trucker live to see another day, or truck another day, so that maybe potentially down the road you can collect more revenue? It
always is going to come back to the larger trucking companies like JB Hunt, Swift, I don't remember, Schneider, all of the big players that can afford lobbyists that pass these bills, like the e-logs and everything else that they have such a heavy hand in, these speed limiters that are coming up. The more that they can take these small owner-operators out of the picture, the more control they have. And when you have more control, more compliance with these larger companies that start to envelop everything, so that the owner-operators, who they say are the smaller sector of the market, I actually did the research on this not too long ago, owner-operators make up, I think it's like 83% of the trucking world. So we don't have the majority of the money, but we are the majority of the population. And so if that population can be controlled, the money from these larger companies goes back to these lobbyists, which goes to Congress, which just continues to feed the monster.
Would you be able to send me a link for the article?
Absolutely.
So that I can provide that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I printed it out somewhere because I got it off the FMCSA's website. I'll send it to you.
Oh, nice. So, and that's another thing that we like to do on the channel, is that we like to source where we're getting the information from, so that way,
Absolutely.
and everyone and anyone can disseminate, the information and do with it what they will. So, and I think that it's very important that as someone in your status, your situation, being a dispatcher for your own, operation, that you do the research like this. Aside from wind in Wyoming, I mean,
That one thing.
Yeah, that one thing that kind of like set you back 6 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But
it only cost me like $10,000. Everybody makes a $10,000 mistake every week, right? Totally.
Oh my God.
That's why if you're in trucking, you better have a sense of humor, because you're gonna need it.
You have to have a sense of humor, and you also have to have really thick skin.
Oh, very.
And then you also have to be okay with crying to yourself at night, because you can't rely on Bubba J at the truck stop, who's just flipping over the roller dogs onto his half toasted bun in his hand with no napkin. He's not gonna console you. He's not.
I don't think you want him to console you, to be honest. No, it's an incredible industry that I have a ton of love for. It's actually the reason why when I made one video in November complaining about low rates, and it took everything off. And for just a minute, I had to stop and say, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to put myself out there all the time? Because
yes.
People on the internet, I don't know if you know this, not always nice. But I have such a passion for this industry that I want to make a change in it. I want to make an impact in it. And I have very, very, very thick skin. I used to be really fat, so I developed that. You had to develop a personality when you're a big girl first, and then you get the thick skin. And it all came into play really well. I've had somebody called me a rabbit choker on TikTok yesterday. And I love a good insult.
Oh my God, what is a rabbit choker?
I don't know. It was someone from Wyoming, and I believe it's like a derogatory term for somebody that lives in South Dakota. But I love a solid, good insult like that. And I laughed so hard. Oh my, because I've never in my life have I been called a rabbit choker before. Like it stopped me in my tracks, and
it's like sometimes you have to, sometimes you got to stop and smell the rain.
That's right.
Even if it's pouring down on your head, you got to stop and smell it.
That's right. No, it was a weird insult, which I loved it. Oh my God. I'm a Gemini. We are witty people. We can spin our thoughts on a dime. So if you can catch me off guard like that, kudos to you, because you deserve it. It was hilarious.
So, on my channel, all right, I am so glad that you brought that up, because on my social media, all my viewers know that I am as transparent as I can possibly be, without throwing certain people under the bus, or corporations under the bus that I'm doing business with.
Which is smart.
But, I'm not afraid to show where they, the rights and the wrongs, but also it's at their own expense, if that makes sense.
It does.
So basically, I'm not the one that's creating the situation for them to mess up. They're just doing it on their own, and all I'm doing is documenting life as it happens.
And that's fair.
But then, some viewers and some fans, they get upset, and just like you, I am super excited when someone tries to insult me or come at my throat, or they try to roast me. When I tell you, I sit back and I'm just like, so where were we? Like, what did we leave off on?
That's a good question. I don't know. Let's see, what were we talking about? No, I don't remember. I'm also a little bit of a stoner. I mean, not yet today, but my recall's like that.
Oh, well, I mean,
so if one of us is going to remember, it's going to have to be you.
Well,
what were we talking about, though?
All right, I don't know. So I'll just start it off, because So, full disclosure for the viewers watching, my GoPro decided to overheat, and I had to swap out the battery and then cool down the GoPro. So I guess that's where we will start, and and then we'll just take it from there. So, Shannon was actually talking about how she is not savvy to technology, and one of the things that she had mentioned was that anytime she is involved with something, technology stops working, which is so funny that she brings that up because my webcam was not working, and I'm gonna use that to like sync up the footage later. But my webcam wasn't working. I had to restart my laptop like a few times. I even emailed her that she should restart her computer,
And I did.
and she did. She complied. But to do that and to say this is that I'm still experiencing technical difficulties, and she is completely fine.
I am fine. But see, back to that hippy dippy business. I came prepared. I've got, all my little hippie, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
But for you, you didn't. I'll send you some crystals. Clearly, you
I
need
mean,
some time.
you actually sound like my old dispatcher Nicole. She used to say like Mercury's in retrograde, and then we're
Yes, yes. I am huge into astrology. You probably can't be able to make
oh
out,
my
but
god, this is like
oh yeah. Oh no, I'm talking like reading birth charts. I know how to read a person. Like it just,
all
I
right.
love it. I love it. It's it used to be considered a stone cold science. I don't get me wrong. We've got some types out there that make it weird, but you had 605 Gemini. You had to know I was all about the Mercury in the microwave.
Oh my god, that's so weird. I just saw that TikTok the other day. I will put that up on screen for you guys.
Friendly reminder that Mercury is in the microwave again.
Oh, Freddie, not again.
I want to break free.
When you guys see the rendition, when you guys see that is so weird that she said that. Oh my god.
Side note, I'm a full medium, so we'll have weird moments like this all
Oh
the time.
no, dude, we're about to get out of the trucking industry. We're about to just jump. I'm all right. Number one, I'm not really big into astrology. It's not that I don't believe in it, but I just feel like if you like, oh, like let me read like the newspaper, and you're like, oh yeah, my sign says this and my fortune says that. I just feel like it's very vague and like blanket
Oh,
statements.
always.
Yeah,
Absolutely. People can make it fit anything. Like I come up on TikTok all the time, the tarot readers. If you've seen a blue butterfly, stop it. Everybody has seen a blue butterfly. Or like there was a man in your life that was mean to you. That could apply to anybody. So
yeah.
there's definitely some people that will say they take free with the expression of it all. But I do subscribe to it quite a bit.
So are you the kind of person that you can tell what their sign is based on just who they are?
To an extent, and I
See,
am
that's the
fully.
blanket statement thing.
No, because but if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you that I was wrong or that I thought a different way because it always comes back to credibility. I don't want to be like yes, and I have been. I've been analyzing you for about 3 or 4 minutes now, and I'm not overly good at this.
Okay.
It's not my strong point,
All right.
but I
So
would probably put you as you're very. You can be lighthearted, but you're a serious dude. So I would say probably a Capricorn or an Aries. What are you?
wait, am I supposed to like? I'll let you keep figuring it out, and then
Okay,
you
okay. You
let
tell me
you.
when we're done, and
I'm
I'm
not
okay
saying
to
that
be
you're
wrong.
wrong by any
No, you're good.
means. I'm not saying that you're wrong by any means, but I'll give you come up with a time, and then
But we'll
we'll
just say towards the end when we're wrapping it up, you tell me if I'm right or not. It's I am not a prideful person. I am great at admitting my mistakes and eating my crow and say I firmly believe that's how you maintain credibility. Nobody's right all the time. Nobody is perfect. And if you say you are, you are a big fat liar.
yeah, or just a liar, because we're not fat shaming.
That's right. That's body positivity. We're
how,
inclusive.
yeah, how dare she? I'm sitting here in 300 pounds of glory,
and she's just like, big fat liar. This.
I can say that though. I used to be 312 pounds. I went from a size 26 to a size 4. So I can say it. It's okay.
I don't think that rule applies anymore. Now,
no? Oh,
nope,
okay. Well.
nope. Because if Titanic were to sink, and then they're like all women and children first, and you were still that size, I'm pretty sure, the guys would have been like, "You're sticking back here with us. You're gonna help us figure this
You're
out."
built like a linebacker, honey.
Yeah, you're built like Cal, who jumped on the boat to save his own life with some orphan child.
Please, I have a child. Please, I'm all she has in the world.
That's right. Well, I mean, it is what it is, though, right? It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So I guess we'll cross the astrology boat at the end of the podcast.
There we go. I'll just
yeah.
keep. We'll figure it out. And
yeah. So she wants to figure. Yeah. So if you want to try to figure it out, that's fine. I'm
just
cool
for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. There's only like a few fans that actually know my birthday. But I think what we were talking about was the fans talking crap and good insults and stuff like that.
That's look at you with your memory. Good
job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that's a Capricorn trait. I don't know if it's an Aquarius trait. A Sagittarius. I don't know. But all I know is that's what we were talking about in a good insult. And I actually talked about this on a previous podcast. I don't remember if I left it in or not. But basically, we actually had a fan or a viewer that got upset that we reposted one of our most viewed videos. And he just called me a scumbag for doing it. And then that's what I was going to say. So it kind of puts you in the power of it kind of puts you in a position of power because you are an original content creator. So now you can actually respond to them via the comments, or you can go ahead and shame this person 100%, create a video about them, which I have no shame in doing.
None.
Because I've had people.
My most popular videos.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had people like try to call me out on stuff, and then I'm just like, and I double down. It's either I double down on it, and I'm like, yeah, I did do that because this is one of our most popular videos, and in our opinion, it did not get the most views or like all the views it deserved. Or, they try to state a fact, and then I disprove what they say by replying with a video and then including their spiteful comments or their hatred comments in the video so people know what they're talking about. And then it's almost like the scene from The Lion King when Simba's pride goes after Scar's pride, and then it's like a free-for-all, except Scar's pride is just one guy who like just lives in his mom's basement.
And he's not going to give up. Those thumbs.
Yep, those thumbs aren't going to give up. But, my diehard viewers and my diehard fans will just go after them and eat them alive. And then I just see my way out of it. I'm like, you guys handle it. I'm good. And
I feel like that is such a cool moment as a creator.
Yes.
I recently had that happen to me. I posted a video yesterday where I had some colorful words about the Wyoming DOT, and a lot of people either strongly agreed with me or they strongly did not agree with me. And I had several people respond to comments. So I just didn't, because it was such a cool moment that these people have been with me for so long that they said what I would have said. They respond, and it felt really cool to have someone take.
It's like you're honored, like that. These complete strangers are like just getting in and getting after.
You see me.
Yeah.
You pay attention. It's a big deal. It was a cool feeling to not have to get in there and be like, okay, one more time. Are you listening? Pay attention.
Yep. So let me ask, what made you start a TikTok, and what made you start talking about the issues that you and Matt, and just for full transparency, it's only you and Matt running the company?
Yep, it's just
Okay.
the two of us. We do everything ourselves.
Okay.
What started it was I was having a bad day. I had been staring at load boards all day. I couldn't find rates for anything that were appropriate, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And I made a video complaining about $1.55 a mile rates, which should be complained about. If you're watching this, don't take cheap freight. Come on now.
Yeah.
But and it just exploded.
Yeah.
And it was not what I had expected in the least. I think that video got 250,000 views.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, no, it went, I mean, I blew up, and that's why I said I really do. I want to take advantage of the opportunity that has appeared and stay with it, decide when you want to, do you step into becoming a content creator, especially as a woman? Do you want to be pretty with your content, a thirst trap, so to speak? And no shame in a thirst trap game. We all do it. There's nothing wrong with it. But do I want it to be something like that, or did I want it to have a little more meat and potatoes to it with an impact beyond, just baseline vanity? And like I said, I come from a long trucking background, and the state of this industry is drastic, in my opinion. And so I decided if I was going to have even a small platform to be able to speak up, to be a voice, to make even a little difference, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So that is why I chose to run with it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, and I've had some really great success with it. My most viewed video was 3.5 million views,
Nice.
which was of Matt. He felt very that ego.
Mhm.
She's up there, and it should be. He should have an ego.
Mhm.
But it's been a lot of fun, and it's something that I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Well, that's good. That's good. Now, do you find that your viewers look for, or not really specifically your viewers, but TikTok, like people that are in the industry that are just getting into it? Do you find that they are like, because I'm not really acclimated to how, like all the terminology with TikTok, but do you find that they actively seek videos like yours for what is that word? Like confirmation that I'm not going
Validation
crazy.
that they're doing it right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
or like validation that, yo, am I the only one seeing like $1.55 per mile on the load board?
I do think I get quite a bit of people that representation, it matters across the board. And the trucking community, whether you're a trucker's wife, you're a truck driver yourself, whatever your role in this community is, we are vastly overlooked, which is fine. Nobody decides to drive a truck or to marry a truck driver for the glory, you know what I mean? But I do think that this particular lifestyle, we should humanize what it is, so our drivers have better respect. But also, just exactly like what you said, I'm not losing my mind, or I can't be making these stupid mistakes all the time, or this can't be what it's like for everybody, or not everybody can have it this hard.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that community to bounce things off of. And beyond that, I think it's really cool to cultivate a community of people that are so ready and willing to help the next guy.
Yep.
Because that does so much, and that's the point. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and I feel like one of before I forget what question I was going to ask, but I feel like at least on my channel I make it a very big point to always help the smaller guy, because even though I like my channel, I don't even know how many subscribers I have. I'll just round it up. I'll just round it to like 80,000 subscribers,
Which is
like,
a lot.
I feel like it's reasonable, but every time I gain a new subscriber, I'm like super stoked, because I'm still humble, and I still remember when my channel had only like 3 subscribers. One of them was like my second channel, and then like 7 people watched one of my videos, and then my channel got like 4 likes. Like,
But every one of those likes, though, they meant something to you.
yes, and they still do.
Absolutely.
I feel like, when you're so small and you're just trying to get out there, trying to, come up with your voice and trying to see where you fit in the niche of, or the grand scheme of things, there's going to be someone out there that is going to be able to relate to you, and that's why any viewer, any fan that reaches out to me about content creating, I always want what's best for them, because what's best for them is ultimately best for me, because I know that
Absolutely.
if they're taking the time out of their day, even though I might not agree with what they're doing, or I might not always watch their content, you know, I believe everyone should have a voice, and it is within your own right to voice your own opinion and, speak what you firmly believe. Because even though I don't watch your content, or I may not necessarily agree with me being considered a Capricorn or a Sagittarius, you do what you want to do, and you say what you want to say, and you talk however you feel. And I I know that when people reach out to me and they are starting from absolutely nothing, I will legit go out. I don't care how tired I am. I will legit stop what I am doing as much as I can to make sure that you got it in all your questions, and
That's awesome.
and all of your stuff is answered, because I know what it was like to be that small guy. Me
Absolutely.
learning about aspect ratios and like what the frame size and stuff. I actually learned that from a viewer in the comment section. He was like, "Hey, you should take it off of this mode and put it on 16:9 aspect ratio for the type of content that you are doing." And I was like, "I have no idea what the hell that means, but I'll try it
Thank
because you
you.
told me to try it."
Right?
And I tried it, and I've never looked back. And I've
One
never looked
of
back.
the phrases I really really like to live by is when you get to where you're going, you turn around and you help the next guy.
Yep.
I get like I had a viewer reach out to me this morning. It was one of the messages I had when I woke up this morning, talking about power only is a very small niche to the trucking world. It's not uncommon,
Yep.
but it's definitely not as common as cows, flatbed, dry van, whatever.
Yep.
And I have a lot of folks that follow me that are, and I swear it's one or the other. They've been in the game for 40 years, or they are just starting,
Yep.
and they need a little help, they need a little clarification. And so I really pride myself on being a person that you're not going to ask me a stupid question. I don't believe in stupid questions.
Mhm.
How do you I have such a big problem with ignorance, especially with what we have for technology this day and age. There's no excuse to not know something. So
Yep.
to be able to reach out and ask somebody a question where you're not going to get judged, you're not going to get made fun of, you're just going to be helped. And I think
Mhm.
that's a big deal. And I'm always always happy to answer
Mhm.
any questions, and I do, and it's usually the best part of my day.
Yeah, there you go. And so for some viewers, I know what it is, but so for some viewers who don't know what power only means, can you explain that?
Absolutely. Power only is exactly what it implies. We are power only. So we bring just the truck to the playing field, which means I particularly love it, because my husband, our driver, he has a bad back. He had back surgery 3 years ago. So, and he was a flatbedder, hauled cows before that. And nobody wants to throw those heavy tarps when they have a back, like, it's nobody enjoys getting older. And I mean, well, maybe somebody does, but they're probably crazy.
Mm.
So it was a way we fell into it. I'm stumbling all over the place here, but we fell into it after the drunk driving incident, and it was something that worked so well for us that we stayed with it. But power only, to get back to the original question, is we haul things like cement truck frames, frac tanks, crane parts, anything where somebody says, "Hey, we've got this on a flatbed. We need this trailer moved, this, that, or the other." It's really, really great because you're not pigeonholed into just one type of freight. There is a ton that we can move, which works really well because there's, especially when you're a smaller owner operator, you really have to play to the strengths of the area that you run in and know what moves in what part of the country. And with power only, I can adapt from Washington to Kansas City to Texas to North Dakota like that. So we're never stuck anywhere. There's never a lack of cash flow to match the work ethic.
Well, since you put it that way, when I started, so I used to have two trucking companies. My second one, I got on the bandwagon probably around March because I was running under my first authority. And what we found was that the first contract that we had for a power only load, because we had rented all of our equipment through Penske, and Penske is a nationwide shortage of equipment. So we actually found a company that offered us to basically borrow their trailer, their flatbed trailer. That's my specialty. It's flatbed trailer. We didn't do any tarps. I feel like tarping just isn't worth my time. It's not. It's not worth the safety.
Nightmare. I tried to help him one time and I wanted to die 20 minutes in. I was ready to quit, to sign over the truck, to end it all right there. And he's like, okay, get it together, office lady. We got that.
Yes. So, I mean, I had it good for like a week and a half. They gave us like a week and a half to pick up the trailer and run whatever loads we wanted. But at the end of it, we had to return the unit we had to deliver the unit to Pennsylvania. But unfortunately, in the Northeast, there, like, power only is too far and few between. Like, if you don't have dedicated freight, you're not gonna land.
Right.
You're not gonna land power only loads enough to survive. Never mind thrive. So with that being said, once I delivered the trailer to Pennsylvania, I had to deadhead home. Like, there was nothing.
Oh, it's a shame you didn't know me. You should have called me. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I am extremely good at this niche. Now, I've dabbled in other things, but I tell you what, it is my absolute superpower. You're never stuck. You might have to have a healthy deadhead every now and then, but you're never stuck.
So we were looking all over the load board between Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, you name it. Like, that's a lot of states that I just named.
Is.
And we could not find any equipment that we could rent. And then we couldn't find any equipment that we could borrow. And we were stuck like that for like 2 to 3 days. Until I made another phone call to Penske, and then they just so happened to have a new girl working there who didn't really know me. And I had told her, look, I've been looking for equipment. And she was like, hey, something just popped up in I think it was Massachusetts, I think it was. She was like, it's all yours, go get it. And I was,
it's cool.
You know?
Gone.
Yep. And, I thanked her heavily for it. And they don't really have, I don't know if they have them out there, but Krispy Kremes.
Not really. We might have some on the eastern side of the state. We don't really have the population for a lot of bigger chains over here.
Yeah.
So we miss.
So I actually visited the casino, which is probably about 30 minutes north of where I live. Picked up 3 or 4 dozen of Krispy Kreme donuts, and then one of the mechanics came in and put a donut on each hand. And was walking back to the shop, just eating a little bit of each one.
Happy.
Yeah, just happy. And I was like, dude, you do realize, like, some of those donuts didn't have holes in them to begin with. Like, that's a Boston cream you got on your middle finger, sir. Like, yeah.
Dedicated.
Yeah, that's it. He's, like, sucking the cream out the Boston cream from his middle finger. I was like, dude, all right. Like, and he's just
Boston
like.
Boston cream and grease. It was all
Yeah. Yep, that's it. It was just like, there was no chocolate left on the top. He already licked that off, and he just
probably made his whole day though.
His whole day.
On stuff like that though. Appreciation goes a really long ways.
Yeah, and then on one part of his hand, I couldn't tell if it was chocolate or grease, but I figure if the donut didn't have any chocolate left on it, then it had to be grease, and he wasn't
It
going
had
to
to
eat
be
that.
grease.
Yeah, and
Extra vitamins and minerals. He had a well
yeah,
balanced diet.
that's
That's
it.
what it
You know,
was.
let's just say his blood is never low on iron,
Never.
ever.
He's great.
Yeah, he's like
He never stands up and about passes out.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
got
You
his
know,
feet.
yeah. What's vertigo? You know,
Nothing. He doesn't know.
motion sickness, not a thing. You
He's
know,
great.
yeah, his equilibrium is fine. You know, he's
It's
good.
just sugar, carbs, and lubricant.
Yep, that's it. And you know what? For those hard protein bars that are hard to get down, I guess he puts a little fifth wheel grease on it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
puts a
Just
little
slapping it around.
yeah, a little red and tacky, and it's good to go. You know.
Perfect.
But so how did you guys fall into like the power only, and what made you guys stick to just power only versus acquiring your own equipment?
Okay. Well, when we originally started off, we were leased to a company, the same company that my husband's dad, once upon a time, was leased to with the guy that ran it. His dad ran it, so it was all big family. We
Yep.
live in a really small area. If you have a truck, somebody's heard of you because so you've got to be a good kid around here because I mean reputation is a big deal and everybody knows everybody's business.
Yep.
That being said, we were offered, well, I should say my husband, he has, this man is, and I'm really biased because he's my husband, but there isn't anything he can't drive. There is no such thing as not on time. There's not a shoot this man can't hit. Like he is just Superman in a Peterbilt. He really is. And his reputation spoke for himself in one of the big cow haulers around here. He started romancing that a little bit. And he's like, why don't you come drive for me? Why don't you come drive for me? Boy, that truck would look real good on a pot. And we eventually pulled the trigger and we did it. I sold our flatbed in 2 days. Very proud of that. And got our authority and everything else set in motion, insurance for 6 months, had it all set up to go. And it was a month after Matt was running cows that there was a drunk driver in Ogallala, Nebraska. It made the newspapers. It was horrible. He decided, and it is alleged that he decided he wished to unalive himself. It's still an open court case, so I'm not going to speak in absolutes. And he decided he was going to hit my husband at 105 miles an hour, dead on, Tahoe versus Peterbilt. My husband had on 89 head of calves. He had fueled like 20 miles before that. So he had 300 gallons of fuel on. And my husband was in the left lane, and there was a reefer hauling potatoes in the right lane. And people had been ducking and dodging this guy for a while. And it was two trucks that just made a brick wall because my husband is such a stellar driver. He went from 75 miles an hour to zero like that. He kept the truck up, but everything exploded because of all the fuel and the way that things were hit. Somebody jumped in that trailer and opened up all the gates. They only lost 3 calves. Everybody lived. Like I said, it's an ongoing case, but that happened and it wiped us out. I sold our equipment to prepare us to haul cows, and we had only been in it for a month. It was something that we had intended on doing for quite a while. You don't make an investment like that to just, casually do it. Yeah. And we had to make a couple of big choices. Some were just Matt's choice to make. Do you even want to get into a truck again after you literally had your worst nightmare come true? And he decided he did, but he for sure didn't want to go back to hauling cows. It was in the pit of his stomach, not what he wanted to do. But because of the wreck, directly related to the wreck, we were in debt about $70,000 because that driver did not have insurance. We did. We had good insurance. Yeah. But if you've ever dealt with a major accident like that, you know that it is not a quick process. Like I said, it'll be a year in 2 weeks since the accident happened, and things are far from settled. So we had to decide if we wanted to take a loss on our business loan and keep plugging away at it, or do what? What are you going to do in the meantime to decide, what is the next step? And I had not dispatched Matt before. I had wanted to. I had been deeply interested in having that control, but it was nothing that I had ever done before. And I said, well, give me a month. And away we went with it. And I was supposed to team up with another guy that needed some containers moved, but I believed him when he told me who he was, and he had no earthly idea about how trucking logistics works. So we had a really brief business partnership, but in that very small amount of time, I was forced to handle it or to have literally no money.
Yeah.
So I handled it and I had a knack for it. I am a little bit of a people person, as you can see. It's not very hard to get me to string a sentence together.
Yeah.
And I built up a network quickly of brokers and shippers that I like to work with. And it's just, I didn't expect to love it so much, to take so much pride in it, but it's to be able to build your dream life with your, oh, this is so cheesy, but to be able to build your dream life with your literal soulmate. Nobody else has your interests at hand like that other person. So it's a really incredible opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most people who aren't like acclimated to what the severity of the accident. To put that in perspective, you said the driver was driving at 105 miles an hour, and what's the speed limit out there?
75.
Okay,
He
so
was 105 and accelerating.
okay, so at 105 meets a truck that's probably doing about 70 to 80 miles an hour. You combine those two numbers, and you add the two numbers, and that's the speed of impact that both drivers felt. It's like crashing into a wall with that combined number, like of that speed. So
And to
that's
stop 80,000 pounds,
mm-hmm.
that's, like you said, a brick wall. That's an
Yep.
immovable force.
Yep. And so I am pretty surprised that the driver made it through that.
I am too. Everybody lived, which is an
Yeah.
absolute blessing. All
Yeah.
three folks involved were okay, which really, really glad, really, really glad
Yeah.
for as severe as that accident was. The community where it happened, I don't think it could have happened in a better place. Everybody responded with so much compassion and so much help. It went a long way.
Yeah. Yep. So now what is the goal for the company within like the next year? Where do you
Was
guys
it
see yourselves?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Ultimately, by the end, we're going to say December 31st, the end of the year, I would love to be completely debt free of what happened with the accident. I'm very happy with how everything else is going. So, other than getting back to where we were before we were just slapped down is priority one. And
Yep.
once I because I don't want to take on any more debt, especially with the way this economy is. It's just not something I'm comfortable sitting in. So to be able to get us back to pure homeostasis so that we can build, because I would like to have an array of trailers. We live in the middle of cow country, which means we live in the middle of hay country. And hay's moving for about $7 a mile up here right now. So to be able to build stability, to have diversity within our company is my biggest goal.
Sweet. So we are back. Sorry guys, I had to pause because the GoPro overheated and I had to swap batteries, cool it down, all that good stuff. So we are back. So, you were Shannon was going off and talking about everything that she has going on behind the scenes. We are always excited to hear about people's success and them doing what they do in their natural habitats. One thing I would say, I would probably withhold the names of the people. Uh,
Oh,
going,
of course, of
yeah.
course,
Okay.
of
So
course.
when we were off air, she was saying the names. I was just like, all right, yeah. If you
I'm
know,
always I'm always so happy to protect others' privacy. If you
okay.
look through any of my, I say Matt's name because he's my husband. Even if we wanted to keep it between the two of us, I would eventually blurt that out. But I
Yeah.
never show his face.
Yep.
I have a 15-year-old daughter. I never show her face.
Yep.
I choose to be, in everybody's face. They don't so much. So I'm always really happy to protect somebody's anonymity. There we go. I said it.
Okay. I thought you were trying to say I can't even say the word. The word.
Anemone?
Yeah.
Anemone.
Yeah. From Finding Nemo.
I was gonna say, I knew you were thinking cartoons because of the cartoons on your wall there.
Oh yeah, this is artwork that has been done for me We could get into that later. No, no, it's a very long story, but I can make it a very short story. I guess I'll do that now. I actually have another channel called the Nostalgic '90s. I am a '90s baby, um, and I live in my memories every day. So these are some of the things that are very nostalgic to me, and these are some of the things that um, how would I say that I grew up watching. So
Of course.
it's kind of,
I grew up on Ed and Eddie Cartoon Network.
yes. So I mean, I have Invader Zim. I got Ed and Eddie. Yes, I have a hat over here somewhere. My sister just bought for me. I have a buddy of mine. He's an artist. He created this, which is Ash from Pokemon, but like an anime version with Pikachu and the original starting Pokemon, and that
Which is
was
cool.
yes my concept that I wanted him to do. I was like, hey, just make it cool. Like, I really want to start because again, I believe in bringing up the smaller people, and even though I don't think that he is smaller than me or I am bigger than him, but he is still a growing artist, and I take pride in supporting local artists' work
That's
because
awesome.
you never know what they're going to become, and if they can, you know, what was that phrase you said? If you got to where you were
Get
going,
to where you're going, turn around and help the next guy.
yes,
And it's so cool when you have somebody who creates something that you
yes,
genuinely think is beautiful and that you believe in, and that if you can get someone else to see that beauty, that is its own reward. That
and
is the
then
neatest.
I was like a huge Biker Mice from Mars fan. I don't
I've
know if
never
you.
seen that one.
No, oh my
No.
god, they got episodes on YouTube. It's one of the greatest cartoons ever. And my buddy who actually, so he actually made that artwork for me. And then
That's cool.
I told him, I was like, look, because I go to Comic Cons and stuff, and I had told him, I was like, look, I want you to create, a portrait that I can hang on my wall. But the catch is, whatever you do as far as that portrait, I want the same thing on the back of a denim jacket so that I can wear it to like Comic Cons and
That's
stuff like
cool.
that. And he pulled it off. I actually have an episode where on the Nostalgic '90s. I have not uploaded to it in a while because life has just been getting in the way and everything. But yes,
Adult responsibilities are the worst.
yes, especially because I still drive trucks and I'm still cranking out 60 hours a week, and my hours I clock into work at 1:30 in the morning, and then I get out at like 3:30 in the afternoon some
That is a
days.
long, long day.
That is a
That
very long day.
starts far earlier than it should be legally allowed to.
It yes, but the type of work that I'm excuse me, the type of work that I do, it just makes it so much easier because I don't have to deal with the general public doing
Right.
what I do, and everyone's out of my way.
Especially over there on the East Coast where you guys are a little
Cram.
tighter together.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet it makes a big deal to be able to get up before most people even consider it.
Yes. So, he did that, respected and honored my wish to have the denim jacket made, and then because he is a smaller artist, on the come up, and I will say on the come up because right now he's getting contracts to do murals in certain cities and
That's
stuff.
so cool.
Yes, in like gyms and stuff like that, and I always make it a point to show him support because for that artwork plus the jacket, I paid like $400. To me,
Which to someone that's starting out, that's a big deal. That helps
yes,
create more content and it feeds that passion. It lets them know
yep,
that they can do it, they can handle it, that they should
yep,
chase their dreams. That's
yep,
awesome. Good for you and good for him.
and that was I think the second project that he did for me. The first one was the Pokemon one, and then he actually designed a T-shirt for me for my company merch, and I don't have one with me, but maybe I'll try to find it or something later. Um, But yeah, why don't you tell people what you have going on behind the scenes?
I am very excited to tell you what I have going on behind the scenes.
Okay.
The cool, and I just happened to this was mailed to me, and I shrieked like a little girl when I opened it. This is Truck Club magazine.
Mhm.
I was very, very, very fortunate to write my first ever published article for them. This is a free magazine, and it's based out of like the California, New Mexico, Arizona area,
Mhm.
but they have an awesome little online magazine. I wrote, so my first issue was February. I was just texted a picture of my next article that's coming out in March, a picture of it all set up. And those texts make me feel like I'm really on the right track. And they loved my
Yes.
first two articles so much that not only am I in their English speaking magazine, but also I'm going to try not to say this wrong. They also have a sister magazine called El Traquero. I know I said that like a white girl, so please excuse me.
Mhm.
But I'll be published in that as well, so in two different languages, which I think is the coolest thing. It's really cool to be able to share my passion for the industry with people that it matters with. It's in my first ever article, I had to give a nod to the trucker wives because while I am a huge advocate for our drivers, the wives, we deal with a lot on our shoulders. And it's,
Mhm.
again, nobody marries a truck driver for the glory of it. Although maybe now these days, I see a
Mhm.
lot of these TikToks where the girls like the bearded blue collar men. So
Mhm.
maybe it is trendy now to marry a truck driver. But like we were talking about earlier, it's nice to be seen, to have that recognition, to
Mhm.
say, is somebody else losing their damn mind with these kids that won't listen, and the laundry that won't quit, and the driver that is having the worst day, so he's in your ear every 10 minutes. It's nice to have that. It grounds you a little bit, like you
Mhm.
said earlier. It just makes you feel like you're not losing your mind. Everything, it's totally normal for everything to be falling apart at least 70% of the time.
Yeah, and when you're not expecting winds in Wyoming, yeah,
What do you do? I
yeah,
mean, because it's never windy in Wyoming. That's
yeah,
super rare.
yeah.
Super.
Like, who's heard of the wind? Like,
No, and I mean, they're definitely not going to get snow with the wind.
yeah,
That doesn't
it's
happen.
like totally unheard of. Like,
I'm
jeez.
never going to live this down. For we've been married 12 years, and this is
Yeah,
going to be. I told him, I was like, please don't leave me. I really love you. So I don't know if that
yeah,
matters at this point, but just know that that's on the table.
yeah. Like when we said "till death do us part," I really meant that. You
God
know.
knew it was going to be until Wyoming wins do we part.
Yep, yep. I
It's in the
mean,
vows. If we ever renew them, I'm putting that in there.
yeah. I
Just in case. If
mean,
I broker you badly, you still have to love me.
I I
I'll
think
ask.
yeah, I listen, I think when if you guys renew, there should be a prenup that says uh under these circumstances, under these gale force winds of Wyoming.
If this heifer ever makes me sit on I-80 for 6 days again,
Yep.
I...
Yes,
but you know what?
exactly.
Fair. I feel it. I feel it. He's
Yes.
gonna he kind of has a green get out of jail free card for a while on that one. Like we're not the type to throw things in each other's faces, but I know for a
Oh, I
while it's
know
gonna
it's
make
gonna
me
come
miss
up.
that for
Oh
six
my god.
days.
Yeah, I
So what you
listen.
can, I suppose.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like in today's day and age where men are let me back up a little bit. I feel like women do so much more things, like so much more like riskier things. They just don't like the accountability of it
No,
and
that's
being
why God
held.
made us cute, so we can get away with this shit.
Yeah, yeah, and the responsibilities that come with making poor choices. That whereas this is, and then like the blame is still put on the guy. This is his get out of jail free card.
Oh,
No, if you
absolutely.
watch this, you better take full advantage of that, sir.
He will. Don't worry. As he should. He's in line for a lot of foot rubs and all the accoutrement that comes with a wife fully and deeply apologizing. So I'm a big one. If you mess up, you better own your mistakes. I say that to my kids all the time. So I better take my own advice. And when I mess
Yeah,
up, It was all me. I am the problem. Isn't that a TikTok sound? The Taylor Swift song? It's me.
Oh,
I
I
won't
don't
sing
know.
it.
That does not come up on my For You page at all.
Well, I have a 15-year-old daughter. Taylor Swift plays at a loud decibel pretty regularly. So
Okay.
I know some I get a little pass. I mean, I am a woman in her 30s. I listen to a little T Swift myself. I
Okay.
mean, not a ton, but enough to be
Yeah, I don't
mildly cool.
listen. I can't say I know one Taylor Swift song. I just know that people crack jokes about her still making fun of her high school breakups or something
I'm
like that.
very surprised you're not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I'm joking.
Really?
I'm joking.
Really? Oh, I was gonna say,
That was full
holy,
sarcasm.
I mean, I'm like my genre would be more like Billie Eilish, but not T
Right, you like
Swift.
it a little edgier, a little darker, not so clean. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
I
Like
got
when
you.
the party's over, you should see me in a crown. You know, like
Oh, you're
that's
just giving me more zodiac hints here.
yeah. I mean, those
Yeah.
are like more my thing. You know, I still listen to Avril Lavigne. Don't get me
Do
wrong.
you really?
Yes,
You wouldn't take it from, I mean, I am a good Midwestern casserole toting woman. And my most listened to artists on Spotify last year, I was in the top three, like 0.03% of Nicki Minaj fans. Uh,
really.
oh, I'm finding loads to like Kevin Gates. We got two phones. You know what I mean? It's
Uh,
you wouldn't peg it to look at me, but I listen to a lot of Tupac, a lot of Biggie, a lot of Dre.
well, all
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, I
We're
guess
moving different kind of weight. I mean,
yeah.
mine's
I
constant,
guess I don't.
theirs, you know.
You know, I'm with you when you said Pac and Biggie and Dre, but you said Kevin Gates. I don't. Yeah, I know
You don't
of
listen
him.
to Kevin Gates?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
you gotta.
Nah. You know, I stick with my very select few. I
What if Kevin Gates is watching this right now? Kevin Gates, if you're watching, give me a
yeah,
call.
Kevin Gates. If you're watching, I got two GoPros, not two phones, sir. So
You
yeah.
know, totally off subject, just
Yep.
a little bit about everything. He has a blueberry farm. That surprised me.
Hmm.
You wouldn't peg a rapper to have a blueberry farm, but get it how you live.
I guess some would say some would what is that word I'm looking for? Some wouldn't use that word or that terminology peg a rapper, but we'll take that. You know
Rapper,
what?
farmer,
Yeah,
all of
we'll take that as no that yeah yeah we'll take that at like surface
it.
level.
Yes.
Like we're not gonna do a deep dive into the terminology you just used. All right, so um, you mentioned your magazine. Now, what else did you have going on behind the scenes?
I have a couple of things going on behind the scenes. I think probably one of when success comes, sometimes it comes really hard and fast, and it can be mildly overwhelming. I'm also developing a podcast, which is tricky for somebody who struggles with technology, but step by step, we're getting there.
Yep.
And I was also very, very, very lucky to be noticed by a director for Sundance Films doing a documentary type movie on somebody. It's South Dakota. We're small. It all comes back together on. It's actually a classmate of my husband and his very good friend. The classmate's sister is writing all the music for this movie, and she is phenomenal. This woman is so insanely talented, but it's about her brother who had some demons that eventually won out over everything. And this director noticed me from my TikTok for about how feisty I am for one of the roles, which is incredible. Nothing is concrete, it's all up in the air. I've also been approached about doing a reality series. All I can see is like Real Trucker Wives of South Dakota.
Yeah,
But I mean, reality TV can be very interesting in its own right. So it's just the start for me. Things are just getting ready to really shoot off.
I think I saw that TikTok, and I'm not gonna say the name of the platform that you mentioned, but if you guys wanna check out her TikTok, and then just you're gonna have to find it yourself. You'll find the video yourself, unless she wants me to put the video somewhere in this video.
It's fine. It's no big deal.
But it's, it's kind of like one of those things where it's a fine line between speaking it into existence and then speaking it so that you kind of spoke too soon.
Exactly.
That's
exactly it. It's an idea. It's on the table. Nothing is concrete. They're just they're feeling it out. They're checking the vibes.
Yep. So I mean, they're dibbling, they're dabbling, they're just testing the waters. Some people, they choose to go toe deep. Others, they plan on going, all the way up to the top of their head into the water. And I think that I don't. If she wants to say it on the podcast, that's on her.
I'm just gonna leave it out into the universe.
She's already said it. So if you guys want to know what she has going on behind the scenes and what may possibly be, you're gonna have to just check out her TikTok. You guys could check it out over here. And yes, so check that out. So before we go, do you have any questions that you would like to ask me? Or do you want to go ahead and take a hard final answer guess as to what my what would you call it? A zodiac sign or
your zodiac sign?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so I do believe, and I could be wrong. And remember, I'm the first one to say if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think I've got you figured out, but we'll see. A question for you. We're going to circle back to the beginning of all of this.
Okay.
When you said, and I'm saying this with nothing but lighthearted friendliness, because we're homies for life, obviously now. You said what drew you to me was my toxicity.
Yes.
Because you said this. So let's expand a little bit more on that. And I again, nothing is taken to heart. I'm not offended in any way, shape, or form. But I want you to expand on that a little bit.
So before we started, I was actually going through the TikTok, your TikTok page, to try to find the original video that I found.
First and foremost, bear with me. I have the hiccups, and I don't have cute, ladylike little hiccups. They'll come out of fucking nowhere and about knock me out. That being said, he has a really good point. The amount of money it takes to get started in trucking is atrocious. And to be very frank, it is the least you're ever going to spend on it, because trucking is a non-stop money pit. And I'm not trying to shit on this industry, because we all know that I very much love it, but it's true. It's never any easier. We had a business loan to start our company, which totally normal. Millions of people do it. And it was for $150,000. So right out the gate, I'm $150,000 in debt. It's my only debt. But still, that's a lot of money. And I should have doubled it. I should have doubled the business startup loan, because there is the amount of even just unseen costs are ungodly. And if you don't have a big fat savings account, you are flirting with disaster every day. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as a cheap or easy repair in trucking. There is no such thing as a quick, cheap anything. I mean, yesterday we took the truck in for an oil change and a couple little minor things, and it was $1,000. All that being said, that's a lot of money to sink into an industry where things are not stellar right now. I do think they're going to change. I really do. But I think we're going to see a lot of tiny guys just like us that are going to go under, because it's suffocating. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody's, ability to handle money or anything like that. You never know what could happen. Most people are one major repair away from having to quit, not deciding to quit, being forced to quit. So he may have come off slightly harsh. I personally don't think so, but I'm a really blunt person myself. The amount of money it takes to jump feet first into this is a lot. There's nothing wrong with being a company driver. The rules are a little different. You don't get to set up your own schedule as much, but you don't have all the headache with it either. Take your time. It's okay.
But it has left my mind right now. But it's just like your raw, uncensored view of the trucking world, whereas you have such a different take on it. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone has a place in this industry, but
Absolutely.
you specifically have you specifically are put in a special predicament because not only are you a housewife, but you are a broker. Not a broker. I am so sorry. A dispatcher for. Oh my God, this is good.
I thought we were friends.
I know, right? So you are a dispatcher for your own company that is a mom and pop ran operation. So you get both sides of the coin. So I can understand the level of worry, the level of frustration, the level of excitement, the level of stress that comes from someone in your predicament because my lady did the same thing when my dispatcher was out of service for a little while. She had some things going on in her life that she couldn't really tend to the business, but she was there if we needed her to.
Kind of like a
Uh,
guiding hand.
yeah, so like I definitely see it, but whereas some people they don't understand that when you are I wouldn't call you the end all be all, but you are the person that is solely responsible and how there I forgot what percentage it is, but for a good percentage of like a good percentage of a situation and the outcome of a situation is not actually what happens, but it's how you react to the situation.
I love
So
that.
whereas you go in and you make these TikTok videos, ranting, raving, cussing, talking about, hey, we're gonna be, doing whatever grown-ups do tonight, and ladies, don't forget to, you know, don't
I
forget
put out
to
my Sunday post like that today. You just reminded me. My goodness.
the what? I'm sorry.
The Sunday post. I know that's what you're talking about.
Oh no,
Ladies,
there was one that you were in like I don't want to call it a nightgown, but it was
was
like
it green?
I think it was blue, or like a
Well,
like a nightshade of blue.
yeah.
But you were
I
talking,
have this bitchin' like night. It's a nightgown set. It's like a silky
yeah.
rose situation.
But this is the thing though. So everything that you talk like, out of all the videos that I saw, the things that drew me the most, or the thing that initially caught my eye, was just like the raw and uncut and unfiltered. Now, granted, my channel is more family friendly content because we do like a wide spectrum of things, and I am a free believer in I am a firm believer in free speech and expressing yourself however you want. And I did talk about this on the last podcast, but you did not get a chance to hear it. But I, for the purposes of expanding my horizon to different age groups and younger generations, and inspiring kids to become something great and to become something more. And we actually have a slogan on the channel called "Dare to Dream, Dream to Inspire."
That's cool.
So it was something that I actually came up with, and I'm like, I can't inspire these kids to be something great and to do more with their life if their parents will not let them watch my content. So
Absolutely.
but whereas on TikTok, you know, you're in a different genre. You're in a different. I think you speak more to like housewives, and then like you said in your own words, thirst trapping. So hey, if it works for you, it works for you. You know, and I think
I love this response. I hope you know that that's exactly how I hope to come off. Raw, unfiltered. I don't ever. I hate that. Having a 15-year-old daughter, I don't like that perfectly curated, like that Instagram vibe. sometimes, you know what? I am a thirst trap, and sometimes I'm a hot freaking mess.
Yep.
And whatever I am that day, I am fully. I don't ever want to come off as somebody that's like, I don't want to just highlight the good stuff. I don't want to have that perfect vibe. I want to be real because I want people to be able to relate to me. So
Yes.
that
And
I love that.
yep. So, and that's another thing we talk about on the channel. Is like one thing about me is that we always show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Doesn't matter if I'm at fault. Doesn't matter if another person's at fault. It doesn't matter if we're having an extraordinarily good day. When I document stuff and when I show life as it happens, people need to understand that I am human. We are human. We all have our good and we all have our bad days. But in your own
And I,
words,
I think working like that has such a big impact
hmm
because if you say just like that, you know what? I'm human. Sometimes I'm great. Sometimes I learn.
yep,
Somebody else isn't going to beat down on themselves so hard because they'll go, you know what? I'm human. I'll do
yep,
better next time.
yep,
And that's the impact we should have. That's especially as people who are fortunate enough to have an audience. I think
yes,
it's a big deal to come off real.
yep. I mean, and it also makes you more, like you said, relatable, but also personable to people.
Absolutely.
Like it makes people see you for who you really are, and it makes people understand that behind the TikTok scene and everything else you got going on, life as it happens is not gonna stop. So excuse me if you guys don't get my Sunday thirst trap video or whatever it is that you do
Right.
on Sundays. I don't know. I haven't been watching that
It's
long.
the flasher day. That's the day you gotta show the girls to the husband when he's
Oh,
home.
oh. See,
It's
I didn't. I don't.
it's a
Yeah.
part of my employee retention program.
Oh. Oh my God. All right.
You
So
you would be amazed how far that goes.
yeah. I'm all right. So if you want to plug your company name and you guys want to work for Shannon over here.
We're laughing. I actually am a sub agent that dispatches, and so I should throw it out there. Matt is the only one that receives that particular retention
See
program.
that. See, I think that right there was manipulation at its finest.
Favoritism. I know it's
You
rough.
guys, yes. I mean, Matt can't be employee of the month every month. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he is this month. I'm gonna try again for March, but February was not my month.
uh, I mean, I just feel like, I guess Sundays are your days. I didn't know that. I have not done.
Mental health. That's what it's for. Mental health.
Yeah, I guess in good spirits. I guess. I mean, I guess Christmas only comes around on Sundays for Matt, whereas everyone else, if you're signing up, you don't get the special treatment.
You don't, and it's rough. It's a hard to not. But you got to
hmm
start at the bottom. You never know.
You know
You
what?
never
And
know.
you never know. Maybe Shannon could start up her own little side business of, getting some glamour girls to.
Maybe you're onto something. Titties for truckers.
There
The
you
charity.
go.
There
There
we
you
go.
go. I
We
mean,
have a name.
and you know what? If guys want to subscribe to that part, let's just say you'll be dispatched in more ways than one.
Yeah, I mean, in this economy, you always have to have a way to turn a buck.
Yep, that's it.
Diversity.
Yep, sometimes you got to take it horns first.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. All right, so before we go ahead, guess it.
You're a Virgo.
Hmm.
When's your birthday? Am I right? Am I wrong?
I don't know where that falls. Um, as far as like I know nothing about nothing when it comes to like how close a Virgo is to my actual sign, but it is not a Virgo.
Oh, so I was wrong. I'm always good
Okay,
when I'm wrong. What
but
is your actual sign?
but the song Virgo by Ludacris and Dougie Fresh is an amazing song.
I don't think I've heard it, which kind of surprises. I know. The shame you were bringing me. I'm gonna look it up as soon as we're done.
Virgo by Ludacris, Dougie Fresh, and it might be Slick Rick.
Okay.
Slick Rick,
Okay.
Dougie Fresh, and Ludacris maybe. No, Nas,
No.
Dougie
Okay.
Fresh, and Ludacris.
I know all those guys.
Yes. Okay. My birthday is July 8th.
You're a Cancer.
Yes.
Okay, I should have got that from the face, but I did not. Matt's a Cancer. Cancer
Okay.
Mitt, you guys are so emotional. See, and you talking about your childhood with all the cartoons back there that should have cued me in. But
I
I was
guess
the
so.
way.
I mean, I guess I don't. You know, I I don't really know what to say to that because I'm not into it. But if you say so, then you say
You know,
so.
I'm partial to Cancer men because I married one. So
Okay.
it's but to other people, you probably shouldn't tell them that you're a Cancer. Cancer men are players. You guys are something else. But
Hmm.
as a Gemini, who am I to talk down on
See,
anything else?
I don't even know what that means. So
Well, you Google it when we're done, and you'll see it's
no,
very.
no, no.
I hate to
From
be
your own
stereotypical.
perspective, because I want to see how well you retain the
Okay,
Gemini traits. Go ahead.
we're
Spew
very
your
witty.
knowledge. You
Oh
what?
yeah, we're very witty.
Okay.
We're an air sign, so we're all about thought process, thinking on our feet. We thrive in chaos because Mercury is our planet, and we all know that when Mercury goes in the microwave, it all goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We are known for being two faced, but we love to understand every facet of somebody's thought process of an idea.
Mm.
We are horrible at commitment because we get really excited by the big picture, and the second we're bored, we're out. So I mean, there's more to it than that, but I feel we're chaotic. It's all chaotic tornado glitter energy.
So, as someone who does not know anything about anything with zodiac signs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, is it typically different from male to female?
Oh, very,
Okay.
very. Zodiac is as personalized as your fingerprint. It really there's so many different facets to it, but men and women are always different, of course, and it plays out the same in the signs. Different traits that are brought to light. It's
Mm-hmm.
just and there's no good or bad or any. It is what it is.
Hmm. That's I guess that's interesting in a way because it's not something that I focus any amount of energy on at all.
I'm probably not uncommon for just a normal truck driver, dude. I don't think there's a lot of them out there that are super into zodiacs. Poor Matt, he lives with me, and I'm always like, I read your birth chart, and that's why X, Y, Z. Or he'll be like, I did this, and I'm like, of course you did, because your Venus is in Gemini. It's its own language, and it makes us sound a little crazy sometimes. But if you truly want to be able to know how to read a person to manipulate a situation for your benefit, you read their birth chart.
Hmm.
I'm telling you.
Nice.
They say millionaires have a banker and billionaires have astrologers.
That's something I can't get behind. 'Cause I am neither. I am
Well, me
neither.
neither. Neither. If my
And
banker's watching this, don't panic. But
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, my GoPro overheated again. Damn it. That's all right.
it's me. We're
Yeah,
good. It's all right.
yeah, it's all right. You know, they got enough of high definition footage to.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
fine. So, any other questions before we wrap this up?
No, and this was genuine. My face hurts from smiling and laughing. It was a good afternoon.
That's
I
good.
appreciate you inviting me.
It's always a pleasure to have a new face on the channel. I did mention earlier that, and I did mention this with the young lady that I had on the podcast last weekend. Um, that it would be cool to have you guys again, and it would be
Absolutely.
an honor. And I think that it would be beneficial, and I'm just putting this out there in the universe before Mercury goes in the microwave again. That I think it'll be beneficial that we can come together and do a podcast, and we can learn and pick each other's brains on the thoughts and the processes,
Yeah.
and because she has a lot, and I'm gonna, as soon as we're done here, I have to upload the video and make sure that she watches it over and she's cool with everything that is going to be put out, and before I post it on the channel, and so that way in the near future, if we decide
to come together and put our thoughts, ideas, maybe collab on another project, or just genuinely help each other up. Because even though I wouldn't say a larger following because I don't know how to like look at numbers on TikTok, but it's all about helping the next person. And
Absolutely. I'm very, very big on that. I really, really
yeah,
am.
and and I'll tell you, like I told her, I've reached out to a lot of people, and it, you guys are like the only people that's gotten back to me, really.
Really? That's so I don't understand. They'll
Yeah,
regret it.
and
I
I reach out to guys, I reach out to older truckers in the game, and like I can only work with whoever decides to get back to me.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely. And when you messaged me, I took a peek at your TikTok account.
mhm,
Um, TikTok is its own stupid animal. You have about 3 seconds on average to grab somebody's attention. And
mhm.
I read that from an article. I try to read a couple articles a week to understand it because it is so out of my norm. But it can have a massive impact, and that maybe that is part of your struggles with people getting to respond to you because they look at your following. But I mean, even if they read your bio for a second and then went to your YouTube channel, you can see that you're not new to any of this and that
Mhm.
you are articulate and intelligent and you have a process, and that goes a long ways. But maybe they, God
Yeah,
knows why.
and that's another thing for me is like I never planned on getting the amount of reach that I have on TikTok as I do on YouTube, because I did mention my cousin is a content creator, and I'll give you her social media afterwards. And I find that TikTok is very, very sensitive, and
Yep.
like my account has been on an account warning for months. Like I'll give you a perfect example and then we'll close out. But I posted a video. It was like someone else's content, but it was just something that I found amusing or funny.
Right.
And because my content is more long form, and since I don't have an editor, I don't have a producer, I do all of my own editing.
Which takes
So
a lot of time.
it does, and I have to relive. Like I just did a 3.5 hour podcast. I just had to relive that 3.5 hour podcast again. That's just to watch it. Never mind to clip what I thought was important.
Right? It takes a ton of effort.
Yep. And so my content is more long form content. Someone that's gonna stick from beginning to end or pause it, come back to it another day, whatever have you. I mean, we do have some short form content, but my content is more for people who want to learn, who want to get out, experience life,
And
and
that's
live.
very perfect for YouTube. And quite frankly, if you were going to succeed on either platform, you're going to want it to be YouTube. TikTok, the Creator Fund, it's a joke. You get 2 to 4 cents per view. It's nothing that you could ever, unless you have like millions and millions of followers and interactions. It's not something the normal person can. You're not going to quit your job to TikTok unless you're like insanely popular.
But have you ever looked up how much money you make on average per view for YouTube?
I think I looked into it briefly, but I think it was like when I read it, and this was probably 3 months ago, and now I feel like it's probably not correct. It's like four. It was. I feel like it was dollars versus pennies, but I don't know anything about YouTube, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah. So I mean, it, the algorithm has to like pick you up and throw you out there and make it so that people make your content, um, like the way YouTube works. I'm sure it's the same way TikTok works, is based on the likes, the comments, the interactions, stuff like that.
Yep.
And but with YouTube, it's based on like the ads that are watched.
Oh, okay, that makes
Which,
sense.
yeah, which on TikTok you don't have that.
Right.
It's just video after video after video. And the only people that are getting paid off of ads are someone that's promoting, I don't know which.
Bloom. I swear to God, that's what everybody has these days. That powder supplement that you put into your water. At least that's what's on mine.
Yeah, I'm I'm unaware of that. But what I was gonna say was like whatever shade of lipstick, whether it's like L'Oreal or whatever,
Right.
Maybelline or whatever. It's like the top advertisers that want to use a content creator for more exposure.
Yep.
So but on YouTube you have the best of both worlds, whereas you could get paid from you can get paid from ad revenue, and you can get paid from advertisers coming to you directly to advertise their product and still double dip on the commercials.
Which is great. I mean,
Yes.
take advantage of whatever's there.
Yeah, but on TikTok, you don't got that. You don't have that.
No. It's,
So,
I mean, you could score a brand deal, but
hmm
they typically want to see you do a post with their product and see how that goes, and then they will. It's I don't know. I'm still learning, but it's
hmm
I don't plan on wrapping up the trucking company anytime soon to be a TikToker.
yeah, I mean, and we'll talk once this is over for a few minutes if you like. But I posted a video. It was an RC truck, like a pickup truck, like climbing over another pickup truck, and it was like a joke. Like, this is how RC trucks are made, because how the RC truck flipped over, it looked like it was
A moment.
Yes, it looked like a magical moment, and TikTok flagged it and then took it down.
I had a response video that I created yesterday, and I called this guy. What did I call him? A limp-dicked bootlicker.
Mhm.
So it was taken down for bullying behavior. They-
Yes, they're like super
Weird, right?
sensitive. Yes, they're
Right,
super
right, very
sensitive.
sensitive.
Yes.
So don't call people bootlickers on TikTok. They get very, or maybe it was the impotent part. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yes, I think it was the first part, not so much the second part.
Who knows? It's a mystery
Yeah.
forever.
Exactly. But I think that's gonna wrap up this podcast today, guys. It was a wonderful experience to have Shannon. Again, mention your TikTok where they could find you.
You can find all of my very stellar, loving, nurturing content at 605_Gemini on TikTok.
All right, sweet, and I'll put that up on screen for the viewers that want to look up her content. And is there any final thoughts you want to say, or any advice you could give to people that want to get into this? And
Absolutely. I don't really have any final thoughts. I've had an incredible time. I will say, if you are looking to get into the trucking industry, you need to have very thick skin, and you need to really be able to roll with the punches, because they're going to come. You can't, don't take it too seriously, but also put everything you have into it, if that makes sense. The industry is incredible in so many ways, but it is very, very demanding. For everything that it gives, it sure takes something as well.
Nice. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode on the podcast. So I will see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned for more great content and hopefully more podcasts. If, it all depends on the people that get back to us and want to, jump on the channel. If you guys want to be on the show and you guys have some stuff to contribute, feel free to DM us or hit us up on email, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys later. Shannon, it was a pleasure.
Have a good one.
All right.